Hello, hello. Let me just make sure the stream is started. Yes, it has. Let me make sure my audio is good. Hello, Yeah, audio is good. Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome to the Saturday morning stream. As you can see, we're going to be looking at retrieval. Just retrieval. This is RAG, a form of retrieval augmented generation. And for your purposes, we're still going to be using all of the constructs in this RAG, basic RAG chain. So we're going to load, and in my case, it's going to be a variety of things. One, it's going to be documents, PDFs, PowerPoints, Word documents, CSV files, Excel files. We're going to pick the appropriate loader. And then we need a transformer. Now that is text splitting. And we have different options on text splitting. I started with recursive, which is a user-defined list of characters, split on every 250 characters with 225 overlap. I've moved to the semantic chunker, which chunks on sentences. Now it should be noted that the semantic chunker needs an embeddings model, and we'll talk about embeddings next. So in this chain, once we've transformed into small sentences or chunks of text, we need to do embeddings. Now embeddings, as it looks here, are a list of floating point numbers, the vectors. And if we look at embeddings from Chroma, now I'm going to one step ahead. The vector store, we need a vector store. And the vector store could be Elastic or Pinecone or Weaviate or Mongo or Postgres. I use Chroma. So then I have to look up what embeddings are supported by Chroma. And I had been using OpenAI as a paid service, costing me money with OpenAI embedding function. Well, I found Instructor, which I've been actually using for a long time now, but we can use the Instructor embedding model for free, locally, privately, without cost, to achieve our vectors. Now the vector store is where we're going to store in the chunks of text and the embeddings and use it as a retriever to retrieve the most similar results. Okay, so that's kind of RAG in a nutshell. I'm going to keep this open for reference because we're still going to use this store and retrieve approach with Raptor. Now this is what I want to add today to my Raptor is multi-query, where the user asks a question and we use the AI to generate 3 in this example. I'll do 4. That way there's an odd number of questions. And do the retrieval augmented generation against multiple queries to give a synthetic best answer. So I'm going to take the 4 answers. 3 of them are AI generated from AI generated questions. 1 is from the user question. I'm going to take them all and have the AI consider them all and synthesize a best composite answer. Now I don't have that working yet. I do have it working in other code. So in my packet buddy or document buddy, I am doing multi-query fusion. We're going to borrow some of that code today to add to my Raptor tree. Now Raptor is recursive abstractive processing, and the key part here is the tree organized retrieval. So we're going to make a tree that very much looks like a data center network. A core, an aggregation, a distribution layer with leaf nodes and a full mesh. And we're going to cluster those text chunks or those sentences. So we're going to take all the sentences or chunks that are related to each other from their embeddings and their vectors and cluster them. From the clusters, we can make summaries. And we're going to use the LLM to make summaries of the clusters and keep doing this. Make clusters of clusters and summarize them all the way up until we get to the root. So a bottom-up tree assembly system. Now, why do we want to do this? And I can attest to this based on my work with Packet Buddy and with basic RAG. Existing RAG approaches have flaws. The one we tackle the most is existing retrieval methods only retrieve a few short contiguous text chunks, which limits their ability to represent large-scale discourse. Top K retrieved short contiguous text will not contain enough context to answer the question. So that's why we're going to do this Raptor approach. Now here's another image that we're going to look at from a cookbook. It's the same tree, but from left to right instead of bottom up. We're going to make our sentences, our leaf nodes, our raw documents, and store them in vector store. Cluster them and summarize those clusters and make embeddings and more clusters of clusters all the way to root. Store the cluster summaries and store the root summary, the more abstract higher level summary, into the vector store. Then we can still use the vector store for the retrieval portion. Now, in terms of the models I'm using and how I'm doing this for free and locally and privately, I'm using Ollama. Now, Ollama is a local server that I run as a Docker container that can store and host models, the APIs for the models. Now, I also found OpenWebUI, which is a GUI overlay for Ollama and other systems, to give me this web front end. And now that I'm logged in, you can see that I've downloaded 3 models, and we're going to be using Mistral today, which is small enough that my little home computer and my RTX 2060 GPU can handle it, but it's good enough that I'm going to get quality answers. To download more models, like if I wanted Gemma, I could just download Gemma locally. So now let's do one. So we're going to upload a document, and we're going to upload the Cisco annual report. So what the annual report's going to do is going to build a tree of this PDF. So let's use Mistral. And you can see here my code has been tied into the Ollama backend with an API call. So we're going to use Mistral and proceed to chat. And now it's running and building the tree. So we're going to get dozens or maybe hundreds. I don't know how many leaf nodes we're going to get out of this report. But it's quite a beefy report. It really is the annual report. It's over 100 pages. So it's a good test for the tree retrieval. I've had decent results with RAG with this report, with the packet or document buddy, where we're using basic RAG and multi-query. But this is going to give us even more context because we have the tree. Now what I do is I actually print to the screen all of the steps in this Raptor tree. To keep the user busy, for one, to keep you busy while it processes. And it should be moving along here. It says it's running. Just going to be patient. But I'm going to show you how many leaf nodes we make, how many clusters we make, and how many clusters we make the whole way through the chain, as well as printing the summary layers. Now this is like automated artificial intelligence analysis. Because of the nature of it summarizing clusters, it's going to give you some really good insight in those summaries. Just got to be patient. I'm just checking my logs here. I don't have any errors or anything. Let's just be patient. Okay, here we go. So I made 502 leaf nodes, and I should maybe keep that image up as a reference for when I'm talking about leaf nodes. So in this image, we have 502 leaf raw documents, which turns into 22 clusters. These are the embeddings for the clusters. And we have 22 clusters formed. Now this is going to take a really long time to churn through because we're going to get LLM 22 summarizations of these clusters, and then it's going to make clusters of clusters and keep churning through the tree. Now if we look in my Ollama logs, now that I've invoked the LLM with a question, summarize these clusters, you can see I've loaded the Mistral model which is 3.83 gigs, or 7.24 billion parameters. It's now handing off to my RTX 2060, my GPU, and it should start generating tokens or answers to those summary layers any second now. Now, it is, I could have used Phi 2 for speed, and I think as I go through this development cycle today, I might shift to Phi 2, because it's not so much the quality of the answers that I'm interested in. Those will obviously get better with better models. It's more the improving the concept. So we're starting to generate some tokens now. We've posted to API generate here against Ollama. And my GPU generate. And now we should start getting there. Now, it's wrong. I don't know where it's getting JP Morgan Chase instead of Cisco's. Sorry, everything just went dark on me here. So again, that's the quality of the model maybe. But it's going to start giving me the summary layers from this PDF all the way to the root of the tree. And maybe this is going to take too long and I could use a smaller document. Let me actually stop this and we'll switch out to Phi for speed. And we'll just use a very small PDF so we're not dealing with such a big tree. That was just an example. So let me bring Docker down. And let me just get rid of that container. And we'll start again with a smaller PDF and a smaller model, just to get through to the end and the conversational part. All right, so what we're going to do instead is use Phi as the model. And we're just going to use a one-page PDF of a network topology for the source document. I think it builds 1 or 2 leaf nodes, so it should get through this relatively fast. So we'll just swap out our sources of data here. Come on. Right, so I'm downloading the instructor XL, and that's one thing I want to clean up is I'm printing that message too many times. Because I changed my time because of the way it works. It's going to refresh that every time. That's fine. That's fine. That's a Streamlit thing. I correct that and make it only appear once. You keep waiting. Now the Instructor XL has an extra large, which is 5 gigs if you're going to be moving to production. I'm just using the large version, which is 1.5 gigs. So we're just waiting for that Instructor XL to download the first time locally. And then we're going to be able to upload the file and continue. So we just got to be patient again. Now I might as well, no, I got to wait. Everything's sort of freezing up here. I do want to get into the multi-query code today and augment this and 2 other repositories, my other Raptor code. So that way when we get to the question, and I think it's .chat, yeah, here where I do the .chat, inside of .chat, where is it? Here. What we're going to do is have a new function here, right? Generate 4 additional questions. And then we're going to loop through each question to invoke them. And then we're going to synthesize the best answer. And we'll likely print the new questions to the screen and likely print the answers to all the new questions as well. So it's ambitious. There's quite a bit there to figure out, but I have that working in other code, so I'm hoping to. So let's try this again. The CML topology, and we're going to use phi just because it's faster. Faster in that it's smaller. I don't mean to imply that the model itself is any faster, it's just smaller. So now we should get to the conversational part, and I'll show you how this works. Right, so it only made 2 leaf nodes, and there's the embeddings, which made, right, 2 cluster nodes, and it's now asking to summarize the those clusters that it made. And then we should move on to the chat interface. So let me go ahead and get that other code open and see what I need to take from it to add multi-query. Right, so in my chat here, generate related queries, the query list, add my question to the query list, now I'm not going to do the ranking stuff, but I am going to do a synthesize response. So create a so this won't be too bad to incorporate. Okay, so here we go. Here is the summary layer from Phi 2, and this is all great stuff. The generated summaries, and now there's my root cluster, and I can say something like, help me understand how many VLANs do I have in this topology, something like this. And there's the automated AI analysis, the Raptor tree, and somewhere in here, my top answer, you have 2 VLANs, 101, 102, which is incorrect. I actually have 5 VLANs in this, but I'm not worried about that. I just wanted to get through to the end of the code. So now, what I'm going to be doing now is, when we ask the question, generate and ask and print to the screen related questions and the original question, and then continue with the synthesized best answer from the multiple queries. I think that's what I want to do next. Alternatively, I want to maybe clean up this tree to be more of a root, although that is the root, and those are the summary layers, and those are the leaf nodes. Kind of want to make this better too. Let's try the multi-query. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a branch, and let's bring the container down. All right, so let's start with this, and we're going to put that at the start of chat here. And whoops, and we're going to say generating AI multi-query questions. And there's my QA invoke, and it should be the query text from my queries. And I'm building up, and then if there's a response, go ahead and print it. Okay, which means I don't need that. And then I need to do the, whoops, hang on, I got ahead of myself. Document Raptor, multi-query. That's better. Okay, so now I need to do the synthesis stuff. All right, so if there's all results, and that's what I'm doing, is appending all results. So I'm going to take this. Okay, so I'm returning response here. What I should be returning is the final answer. So let's take this. And I am appending final answer. Okay, now I'm not doing the reciprocal ranking. QA.invoke. Synthesis prompt. After gathering results, let's ask it to synthesize a comprehensive answer. I gotta see what I'm doing here. What am I passing? What is question? The original question? Yeah, okay, alright. So now I need some of these functions brought over. So I need the generate related queries and the synthesis prompt. Just generate related queries there. And I need create synthesis response. And I gotta massage this a bit because I got rid of the reciprocal ranking. I think that's all I need from there. And we'll take a look at this in a bit more detailed. So I just need all result. I'm not doing that with the sorted results. I don't need that. I don't need prompt plus. I can just, that was when I was doing ranking. So generate related queries is fine. Create synthesis, all results, and I'm not using all results. I need all results here. Yeah, all right. Let's try this, everyone. And we'll see if we've added multi-query to the end of this. I think it should work. I don't see why not. So yeah, I gotta download the Excel. Okay, that's fine. So anyway, if you're wondering what we've added in here, my original chat function down here, where's chat? So the user asks their question, which invokes this .chat function, and that chat function is right here. And we've adjusted this chat function to run a new generate related queries based on our original question, loop through those answers and print them, and then create a synthesis to synthesize all of those answers that we get from this loop. So the synthesis, the loop, generate related queries. In light of the original inquiry prompt, let's delve deeper and broaden our exploration. Please construct a JSON array containing 4 distinct but interconnected search queries. Each query should reinterpret the original prompt's essence, introducing new dimensions or perspectives to investigate. Aim for a blend of complexity and specificity in your rephrasings, ensuring that each query unveils different facets of the original question. This approach is intended to encapsulate a more comprehensive understanding and generate the most insightful answers possible. Only respond with the JSON array itself. All right. Hey, Robert, thanks for joining. So now that's going to create an array of questions. So now we have original question plus 4 AI generated question. Now imagine we have all their answers. The synthesis prompt, based on the user's original question, here are the answers to the original and related questions ordered by their, I don't have them ordered by their relevance. Let me get rid of that. Please synthesize a comprehensive answer focusing on the original question using all the information provided below, all the answers. Given the above answers, please provide the best possible composite answer to the user's original question. Let me say composite synthetic answer. Now those won't kick in until I run this again. But let's go ahead and, what can I use that is not too big? Let me do a PowerPoint that is pretty big, but I'm just curious and want to show you a different file type. If everyone's sick of reading PowerPoints, we can actually build a knowledge tree, a tree representation of the PowerPoint with AI analysis built in. So now it's going to take a couple of seconds here to make the leaf nodes from the PowerPoint first. And then it's going to make a layer of summarizations, a layer of clusters. Okay, so that PowerPoint resulted in 13 leaf nodes that got formed into 3 clusters. And here's the embeddings. And now we're asking the AI for the summary of the clusters. And if we look into the Olama logs, you can see things are happening with Olama. We've loaded Mistral, the size, the parameters, my GPU, and we should be getting tokens back pretty soon in the form of our summary layers. So here is the summary layer. Here is another summary layer. And we should be getting the third summary layer in a second, followed by our prompt where we can ask a question. So there's the last summary log. And now we're at the root. And a lot of this, some of this is noise. Some of this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We'll have to see. Maybe I should have used a different model. But now we can say, you know, please help me understand this presentation about Cisco and artificial intelligence. Now, we should get related questions now. The next step here should be it generating 4 additional questions. Now, did I ST write those to the screen? I don't think I did. I should print this list of queries out to the screen. The dictionary there. Let me do that next time. Next time I run it. Let's see what's happening though. And I got to handle this instructor. Okay, so generating multi-query questions. And right here I should ST write and actually print the questions. Okay, hang on. Has no attribute extract from JSON. So that's another function that I've missed. Okay, let's bring it down. Related queries, and this is in my generate related queries. Self-extract response from JSON. Okay, so I do have another function here. Logger error. Do I have a logger that I need for this? Yeah, I see. Palmer added a logger. A colleague of mine added some, which is fine. I just need to build the logger. I also wanted to write something. Hang on. I want to write in my chat function here. Let's write the related queries. st.write. All right, let's try it again. And I got rid of the container? No. Yeah, we just gotta wait for this to download, and we'll stick with the let's stick with the PowerPoint because it's a nice mix of a pretty large document, but nothing crazy like the annual report. I mean, we could do the topology one. We're not really testing that. We'll just do the topology one with the Phi2 model. That's what we'll stick with, just to get through this a little bit faster. Now, this Instructor Excel, I mean, I could pull it locally and mount it externally through Docker, but I'm trying to make this a little bit more portable and on demand so that other people can use this tool. And then if you wanted to download it locally and mount it without having to do it every time. So we're going to stick with the CML because it's nice and tiny. And we're going to use phi, faux fum. And there's our nodes, all right, 2 clusters, and then we're going to get 2 summaries and then a higher level summary. And then we should be able to ask our question and get 4 additional questions, the multi-query component added. Lots of great stuff here, all the automated AI analysis, right? What can you, about how many VLANs do I have? Now this is probably going to be wrong because it's phi, but that's not what we're testing right now. So let's see here. Generating AI multi-query questions. Unexpected format. List object cannot be interpreted as an integer. That's me doing ST markdown on the related queries, maybe. Let me just change that to ST right. I thought I could get the mark. Never mind. That's just, whoops. That's just a simple mistake. That shouldn't have been marked down from the beginning. So this is kind of neat, combining multi-query and potentially RAG fusion if we want to reciprocally rank those responses somehow. Tagging on multi-query to the end of the Raptor tree with the retrieval. Come on. And by the way, in case you're wondering, this Instructor Excel, in case you do want to mount it locally, if you look in your container, so my document wrapper container, it's in root, cache, hugging face, I believe. So under root, cache, hugging face, hub, no, torch, excuse me, root, cache, torch, sentence transformers, and then this is where you can, so if we downloaded this offline, I could use a volume mount and mount it into this folder and not have to pull it every time. Just as a pointer for everyone out there. All right, so we're doing the sandbox. We're doing phi, and we're going to wait for the tree, which is only 2 nodes. And we'll get 2 summaries, a 3rd summary. network topology. Now this might not generate the most, interesting 4 additional questions. I just want to test it with this, and then we'll do the annual report. Because the annual report, the multi-query questions are actually going to be quite relevant. How many VLANs do I have doesn't really need additional questions to extract that information, right? So let's see what happens here if I get another error or not, or a new error. Okay, so don't worry about this unexpected response format and key error query. All right, so I did get 4. How many VLANs do I have? Original prompt, new prompt. I see what it's doing. So it's giving me a weird list. Instead of just giving me a list of questions, it's giving me this new prompt. That's the model doing that. What is this query though? That's just a query. Am I missing key error query? Oh, because query isn't the key, it's like new prompt, right? I almost have to see. Yeah, ensure that queries are in the string format. So what's generating this related queries? Where's my prompt? Only respond with the JSON array itself with an that was fairly reliable with ChatGPT 4, the query thing. Let's see if we can force this model to respond with query. Now I'm not sure where this unexpected, there was a couple of errors in there. So that's the query one, but there was something, did I delete the container? Yeah, okay, all right. Trying to think here. I know with ChatGPT 4 it was always coming back with query in the table. But how can I force this other than telling it to in the query here? Let's see what we get with this new prompt. I guess I could take the query out and just say for. Just loop over them, regardless of what it is, and let the AI handle it in the question, which would be to JSON. I'm going to see if I can fix it. Let's see if we can fix it with this query thing. If not, what I'll do is I'll just do something a little bit different where we don't extract the query, we just send it the full JSON question Okay, so 2 nodes, clusters. Yeah, let's go. Phi does move pretty light and fast though. I gotta give it that. How many VLANs do I have in this network topology? Yeah, let's see what happens here. Come on, give me my questions in a nice array. So this all related queries was empty. I'm wondering where I'm getting this unexpected response format from first. Let's try it again with it just getting rid of that thing at the end where I said don't respond with anything else but whatever. Because I got an empty string there, so that doesn't help me troubleshoot if it's empty. I still don't know where that unexpected format's coming from. I'd like to track that down. It doesn't really show up in my logs anywhere though. There's no log. It's just a Streamlit thing. So maybe something in Streamlit I'm writing. I know I'm trying to extract the JSON from this string here. It could be related to this, but I don't know. This seems to work in my other code. That's why I'm surprised I'm getting any problems, because I don't remember having these issues in the other code. I should fire up the other code to make sure I'm not getting that same. Alright, come on, let's go. And maybe even print response text here at the start of this extract JSON and just see what that looks like before I extract anything. And where am I calling this extract JSON? From the generate related queries. And then I'm trying to respond with just the JSON. You take a look at that. That should already be cached. I don't know why it's doing that. Actually, that's what I'm going to add is to cache it with, and I got no answers again. Related queries is empty. Just gonna look up something real quick. Streamlit cache. Cache data or cache resources? ML models. Perfect. Well, if I don't get multi-query working, at least I got this fixed, I think. So that's going to be at S. I just do this. Like that, I think. Can I do that? Or does it have to be a function? Does it have to be a function, and can I make that not a function? And they're all functions. Alright, so we got that cached function. Now where can I call it? I don't think it's just going to run, even though it's I could call it in a init here, and then just cache that resource once. I really like to do it when the whole thing starts. Can I do it something like this? And call it before we load anything up at all and cache it? Let's try it. I gotta cut down on that time that takes to load and waiting for it over and over again. So let's see if we can resource cache it. And then we'll get back to the multi-query stuff. Okay, so it didn't happen the first time. Missing one positional argument self. Load model. Well, I'm trying to do things at once now. Let's see if we can get this model thing sorted out. Because it will save me a lot of time waiting for that. Not as a self. Missing one position. Self. Oh, because chat interface doesn't have self. So how can I make that? Can I do self dot? No, I can't because there is no. Let's not do it here then. We can do it when we init. The very first thing. Let's try it that way. I have load model right there. What? Do I need to add self to this now? Why won't it take? I mean, it's defined right there. Self. Let me just do self. I called load document the same way. It's just, is it this cache resource? Oops. Oops. No. Why won't it let me init this? I don't get it. It's not defined. It's defined right there. Do I have to take it out of the class? It doesn't matter where it is. Let me just see if I can init it that way and recache it so it doesn't happen every single time. Okay, there we go. Running load model. Which now should cache that embedding model, so I don't need to do that every time if I chat with multiple documents or as I move through the pages. Now we got to get back to that query stuff. What's going on with my multi-query? So I want to st write something raw before I do the JSON thing here. How many VLANs do I have? See, and now it's not doing that stupid downloading that every time. There are my queries, and there is query. So now I should actually have the key query. And I should be looping over my questions. All right, so it's a little flaky in that it requires query here, but I've hard-coded that in the prompt. So now I'm asking, so right, remember the original point, our first user question, and now different AI generated questions, the answers to all of these questions based on RAG, and now we should get a super synthesis answer. Okay, so I'm missing all results. So when I do self create question, I need to pass it all results with question. We're getting closer though, everyone. And we did fix a pretty significant performance issue in the caching of that resource. All right, so create synthesis. Where am I calling that? Here. Create synthesis, and I'm passing a question. But I also need to pass it all results. Made a mess of myself. Okay, so I've got two other repositories I've got to refactor for this caching of the model. That's really going to help. And then add the multi-query stuff once I've got it sorted out to the other repositories. We've been going for a while though. I'm going to probably wrap things up. That's been about an hour of streaming. Probably getting a little sick of this, but we did make good progress today. And I may jump on later today or tomorrow morning and pick up where I left off, meaning refactor my other two repositories. But to test this multi-query, after I get this working with the synthesized answer, we'll do the annual report one more time. And we'll use Mistral and really check the quality level. And I got to pull the code into the repository. Okay, so how about something like this? What can you tell me about this network topology in Cisco modeling labs. Be technical and explain it to me like I am a senior network engineer. Just to test the multi-prompting and see what kind of questions we get here. So the query is working now. And here are not great related questions, but related questions. And now we're going to churn through, hang on, what happened here? Why is it writing the answer? We don't have a question. So that's the question, but I don't, let me just refresh this. I don't know why that happened. And I also want to test that that's been cached. So I shouldn't need to download the model again, right? Good. Yeah, that's all been cached. How many VLANs do I have? See, because this one didn't generate query, so it failed. Well, that's not perfect. Relying on query. Is there any way for me just to do for k value, k for key of value, and loop over it? Maybe because I'm using phi, and phi sort of sucks. Let me try it one last time with phi. Yeah, garbage. See, it's a lot slower, right? But let's see if Mistral handles that query better. Probably will. Names of all the VLANs, right? It's got all the info. It's just incredible. Just remarkable. How many VLANs do I have? There, right? Query. So it really depends on the model. But now why am I getting this integers thing here? That's the second time. So st right, how much further down in my code did I get? St right response and answer. St right response and answer. And there's the query text. Is this because I changed this from LLM to QA? Probably. Probably, John. But I am happy that I've got the caching working. And multi-query is pretty close. We'll have this working in the next 5-10 minutes. And then I got a bunch of more work to retrofit. And we're going to use Mistral. And we got to download the model. So, come on. Okay, so how many VLANs do I have? I think it's because I was tweaking this and I changed that to LLM instead of QA. There we go. There we go. Query, response, query, response. As we loop through each of these queries and responses. And then we're going to get to the synthesize the super answer and present the user with the super answer. In this case, it may not. Like that actually helps. Having these distinct VLAN IDs. Okay, so we're into the automated AI analysis of the document. And the top answer, set object is not subscribable. Shit. Where's this top answer? ST markdown. So that is this final answer. So the top answer is the chat from the user input, and I'm looking for an answer key. Set is not subscribable, so I have a set there. Can I just print top result for now? Let's just try top result without the answer for now, the answer key. Real close. We're at the very, very, very bottom of the script anyway. And it's going to make the Raptor tree and all that stuff. And then display the conversation history. Conversation history needs to be cleaned up a little bit, admittedly, and so does the tree visualization. But it's all work in progress. Alright, so one last time. Truly the last time, I think we'll get through and we'll get the answer printed. And if it needs to be cleaned up, I'll clean it up later. I gotta get going, and I'm sure you gotta get going too. So, one more spin of the wheel here. And let's go ahead and do, that's gonna take a real long time, the annual report. Let's just do it one more time with this CML document. Well, thanks for joining today. We had a good turnout, 6 or 7 people throughout the stream. We've been going for G76, probably almost 80 minutes. And we made some good progress. We got the caching working. We just have to get the synthesized answer printed to the screen properly. That's what crashed last time. I think we actually synthesized the answer because we got to here in the code, and here is where we're actually calling that .chat function and all this stuff is happening. The automated analysis is me just printing all of the summaries in order so the user can get the automated AI analysis from the summary information. And then I'm trying to print the top result from the, I should say synthesized answer instead of top result, but you get the idea. Let me do that right now. Synthesized composite answer. And make sure you subscribe and like and notify and share on your socials and do all that good stuff. I would really appreciate it. That really does help me out, getting the word out there. I'm just trying to help the community. Embrace AI, right? I don't really get anything out of this other than exposure and fun. But, you know, if you want to share this stuff with people, that would be great. Okay, so now we're going to get to the question and generate our 4 questions. How many VLANs do I have? And generate 4 new questions. Ask each of the 4 questions. And they're right, by the way, right? Total of 5 VLANs, and there are 5 VLANs, and this is what they're called. And right answer number 2. And this is only going to reinforce the super answer because the AI has 2 or 3 references to this information, right? So we're really extracting the most out of this with the multi-query approach. And we already have a Raptor tree as well, where we're extracting this from. We're using the Raptor tree as the source of information here. And now we should be getting to the synthesized response soon. So there's the automated AI analysis, all the summary. There's the visualization. And the chat history is broken. But where's my top answer? Here. So top answer is JSON. I can deal with that. But there are a total of 5 VLANs, and look at all this information that it's included because of the multi-query. So I would call this a success. I'll clean up the output. I'm going to leave this up on my screen and walk away, take a break. But this is JSON, and I just need to find out how to access this. And then down here in my history, I don't want the memory objects. Right, what am I doing here? Chat history. AI. Else AI. Prefix U. Prefix message. And the message is just the object. So I got to look into this. I'll sort that out. Thank you all so much for joining me on your Saturday morning. Have a wonderful day.